Well, hello everybody. Welcome to P.B.M. Money. I want to talk about preparing to set financial goals. This is the first in a two-part video that I'm going to do. The reason I decided to do this is when we bought our second little house, I had to rethink all of our goals, and I'm still doing that. And the process that I had to do that was quite a process. The way I had done it before had just progressed over time, but this time when I had to reset everything, I decided that's quite a process. I mean, I've been at this now for 2 or 3 months, and I've probably got another month. I've pretty much narrowed down on what we're doing and where we're going, but it's been quite a process. So I decided I'm going to pretend like I know very little about setting financial goals, and then I'm going to walk us through the process. Now, the first thing you need to do when you're planning on setting financial goals is you got to figure out where you're at. So what does that mean? That means you got to know what your expenses are, what your assets are, what your liabilities are, the good, the bad, the ugly. And the key to this part, because this part is critical. If you get this wrong, everything else you do doesn't matter a hoot in hell, okay? So you have to be brutally honest. So if you don't know those numbers, then research it. As an example, when I was in college and I had no money, can anybody relate? I kept a journal, and in that journal, every time I spent money, I wrote it down. Soda, 75 cents. Candy bar, 35 cents, whatever it was. And then at the end of the month, I added it all up, and then I added up all my pays during the month. And if they came out even, I was doing really well. But you got to know your spending, you got to know your income, and if you're saving any money, you got to know exactly what percentage you are saving. So research, research, research. Now, out of all of the possible things that your money touches, you need to decide what is your biggest thing that you want to concentrate on. What do I mean? Do you want to concentrate on saving money, cutting your expenses, increase your savings, increase your income? Whatever thing it is that's most important to you, that's where you need to concentrate. As an example, if you want to learn to live on less money each month, then you need to educate yourself on how to live on less money. And you say, well, how do I do that? Well, YouTube is great, okay? If you check YouTube, you will find all kinds of videos on being frugal, and I've made a few myself. And these are just things that, it doesn't mean that you live cheaply. It does not mean you don't do things. It means you learn to live the way you're living for less money. And sometimes that means spending more money up front. A great example for me was for 10 years, I could not afford any vehicle. I was driving junkers, and they were in the shop every other month, and my credit card bill was at its maximum all the time, and I was making payments on it. It was, and all of them ended with me having to throw the car away because I drove it into the ground because I couldn't afford anything. I finally leased a car and was able to save the money that I was normally spending on keeping the thing on the road for one simple monthly payment. That was a game turner, and in that period of time I was able to pay my credit card off. Huge, huge advancement in my finances. Now, there are other ways that you can educate yourself. You can get books from the library. You can listen to ebooks. You can watch videos. You can research any way that you prefer. That's how you need to educate yourself. And make no mistake, you do need to be educated. This is not something you just do because it feels right or it feels wrong. You need to educate yourself and learn the pros and cons of each step you take financially. Now, once you get to that point where you're educating yourself, you have a good clue of where you want to key in on, then you need to get your ducks in a row. And how do you do that? Well, there are certain things that need to happen because we're human and we make mistakes, okay? So you need to take it out of your hands and put it into the hands that computers are. And here's what I mean. Just some examples. Have your paychecks direct deposited. Have your savings automated. And all that entails is going to the bank and say, hey, each time my paycheck hits, I want you to take 10% and put it into this savings account. And they'll do that. They will gladly do that, trust me. If you have loan payments or credit card payments, you automate those. The credit cards and loans, so you're never late and you never forget and there's never any mistakes. And if you automate it, it also buys you more time, so you don't have to go in every month and do it on your computer, and you won't ever be late, and you get extra time. If you don't have a savings account set up, then you need to set up your first savings account, and that needs to be your emergency fund. That way, if you do have an emergency, as you're setting up goals and setting up your accounts and setting up everything automatically, you'll be able to handle it without taking all the money from your credit cards. So, now here comes the part where most people drop the ball before they even set the goal. When you're preparing to set your goal, you have to ask yourself very critically, how bad do you want whatever it is you're going to set the goal at? And you can go anywhere from, if I hit it, great. If I don't, that's okay. I'll be better off than I am when I started. Or you could be like, I really want to do this. I'm not sure that I can, but I really want to. Or you can get to the point where me and a lot of people that are good at budgeting and goal setting and achieving, it's all or nothing. I'm all in. It's like if you're playing poker and you got a hand and you're not sure how it's going to go, but you're all in. Put all the chips on the table. If you go into any goal with that mindset and a roadmap how to get there, the likelihood of you achieving it is much higher than if you take a lukewarm or I'd like to get there attitude. I'm all in. And if I have to eat ramen noodles 5 days a week for the next year, then that's what I'm going to do. If I have to drive a junker, or I have to ride my bike to work, or go to Salvation Army for clothes for a year, if that's what it takes for me to get my goal, then that's what I'm going to do. You need to get to that level of dedication. So, if you're going to do that, then you need to set a goal that is worthy of those actions. You know, if you make $50,000 a year and your goal is to save $2,000, then what are you doing? But if you make $50,000 a year and your goal is to save $10,000, that's a goal that's worthy. That's saving 20% of your income. That's a worthy goal. And if you're not currently saving a lot of money, that sounds like a huge goal, and I get it. But I promise you, if you do the research and you set up a roadmap and you dedicate yourself to this, it's easily achievable. And one other thing, if you are married or you have a partner, they have to be on board with the equal amount of dedication and the equal amount of stick-to-itiveness that you've got. Otherwise, you won't make it. I've been married twice. My first wife and I were both savers, and we had a lot with not very much money. My second wife was a spender, and we never had anything, and I lost everything. Everything. When I left, I had nothing. When I went in there, I had a lot. Okay? And it wasn't because she took it, it's just because she spent it all and caused it all to go away. So if you are not married to a saver, good luck with that. Then the best thing you can do is to keep your finances separate, let her spend hers or he spend his, and then you save yours and do the best you can with what you've got. Well, that's the end of this video. I've got one more video coming on how to actually set the goal and go get it. You guys have a great day, a great week, and happy investing.